on top of everything else is a thing called 1 degree of separation. Even if we didn't know somebody in that building, this world has become so small that we know somebody who knew somebody who was down at that trade center. On top of that, in the succeeding days of this event, we saw mass media we all were glued to our TV sets, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, all the stations were having something for weeks on end. We saw vignettes and stories about people who escaped. We saw stories about people who did not escape. We started to relate to those people. They no longer were numbers. Those soldiers or sailors in World War II, yes, some of you may have known some, but most of us didn't. And they were names. Names, they weren't faces. We knew faces here. We also saw the faces in the media. We knew that this man who had these 2 little girls was in the Tower 1, was 32 years old. And he was a good dad. You saw him we saw videos of him and his children, just like we have videos of us and our children. We related to everybody in that building. It no longer was ambiguous or anonymous. And that's why we had the feelings that we had. The other problem here was that we didn't know who the enemy is. That also creates fear and fright in ourselves. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, we knew who did it, we knew who our enemy was, we knew what we had to do. Here, we didn't know who the enemy was. And we still don't really know who the enemy is. We don't have a country we can say, it's not Afghanistan. It may not be Iraq. It may be Saudi Arabia. It isn't any one particular place. These are a band of terrorists who exist throughout the world. And we don't know when they're going to show up next. This is what creates the fear in ourselves. This is what creates the unknown factor. And that's why so many of us are so anxious, because of the unknown factor. We don't know what's going to be next. And as we experienced in the weeks succeeding the attack, the fear of disease, which Dr. Rappis will go on and further about. But we're fearful of anthrax, smallpox. We don't know what's going to be. This may be media sensations, but maybe not. We don't know what it means to all of us. What happens when people experience traumas is that past traumas come to light. For those of us who have had serious past traumas, many of us have experienced the death of a loved one, a child, a parent, a spouse, and very often when you have that experience in itself, a trauma will